BRICS, a global South League forum founded in 2009 by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, has grown significantly in influence and is now considered one of the most important organizations on Earth. In 2024, 4 new countries were officially admitted as full members, including Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. At a historic summit in Kazan in October 2024, 13 more countries were officially invited to become partner countries of BRICS. 9 of those 13 countries accepted the invitation, and on January 1, 2025, 9 more countries became partner countries of BRICS: Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, and the United States. As of January 1, 2025, BRICS now has 9 full members and 9 partner countries, with 4 countries that have not yet officially given an answer. Saudi Arabia was the only country invited to be a full member but rejected the offer, while Argentina was initially invited but rejected by right-wing US leader Javier M. BRICS is very powerful in Asia and Africa, with 4 countries now part of the organization and 2 more that may be part of it in the near future. In Latin America, there are 3 countries in BRICS, including Brazil, Bolivia, and Cuba. Cuba, despite being suffocated for over 60 years by an illegal US blockade, has always been important in global South movements fighting against colonialism and imperialism. BRICS now has 18 members and partners, representing more than 41% of the global economy when GDP is measured at purchasing power parity and roughly half the entire world population. They also represent more than 1/3 of global oil production and are crucial producers of minerals like nickel, copper, iron ore, and food, particularly cereals and meat. As the global South grows in economic influence, BRICS must form an organization for economic cooperation. BRICS partner status means that a country is now part of BRICS and on the path to becoming a full member in the near future. This process is similar to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, (SCO), which is more focused on economic cooperation and dollarization. At the 2024 summit in Russia, BRICS officially endorsed a comprehensive plan to transform the international monetary and financial system. The proposal includes creating alternative financial mechanisms to dollarize, allowing countries to trade together using their local currency, creating reserve assets, and creating platforms to settle trade imbalances in gold, commodities, wheat, and oil by creating exchanges located in BRICS countries rather than the West. The Bricks and Mortars Group, BRG, is becoming increasingly influential in the global economy, with 9 full members and 9 partner countries representing roughly half of the global population. With over 8 billion people, the group now has 4 billion people among its members and partners. 9 of the 20 most populous countries on Earth are part of the BRICS group, with India and China being founding members. India is the most populous country, with over 2.8 billion people. China is the second most populous, with over 2.8 billion people. Indonesia, which is now a BRICS partner, is the 4th most populous country after the United States. When combined, they represent more than 3 billion people. Brazil is the 7th most populous country, followed by Russia, the 9th most populous country, and Ethiopia, making 6 of the 10 most populous countries part of the BRICS group. The original 5 BRICS members together represent more than 30% of world GDP measured at purchasing power parity. When measuring at purchasing power parity, the BRICS 5 members now have a larger share of the world economy than the G7, which is the group of 7 colonialist countries that colonized most of the world. The 9 countries that are now full members of BRICS together have their GDP representing more than 36% of the entire world. China is the world's biggest economy at 19% of global GDP, while India is 8% of world GDP. Other big economies in BRICS include Russia at over 3.5% and Brazil at over 2.4%. Additionally, the 9 BRICS partner countries, including Indonesia, represent roughly 2.4% of global GDP. When combined with the BRICS 9 members and the 9 partner countries, they represent just over 41% of global GDP. However, GDP is not the best measurement for understanding the global economy. GDP is a measure of the value of all goods and services produced in a country in one year. In reality, manufacturing, the actual production of tangible products that people need for our lives, is just over 10% of US GDP. In addition to manufacturing, the US spends roughly twice as much on healthcare as a percentage of GDP compared to other advanced economies in the OECD. A significant portion of US GDP consists of imputed rents to owner-occupied housing, which is imaginary and does not actually show how productive the economy is. A more useful measurement for understanding the BRICS group's influence on global food production is the share of BRICS countries in global food production. Data from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization shows that the main primary crops produced in the world are sugar cane, maize or corn, rice, wheat, palm oil, and potatoes. China and India together represent nearly 2/3 of global sugar production. Brazil and India together represent nearly 1/3 of global corn production, and Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand together make up more than 80% of global palm oil production. Global meat production, including chicken, pork, beef, eggs, seafood, and vegetable oils, is dominated by BRICS countries. Chicken, pork, beef, eggs, seafood, and energy production are all significant contributors to the global economy. The USA is the largest producer of chicken, followed by China and Brazil, accounting for around 20% of global chicken production. Pork production is also significant, with China being the world's largest producer of over 40% of global pork production. In terms of beef production, the US is the largest producer, followed by Brazil and China, accounting for around 20% of global beef production. Egg production is another significant contributor, with China being the world's largest producer of 34% of the entire world's production. Seafood production is divided between capture and aquaculture production, with China alone making up more than half of global aquaculture production. China and Indonesia make up more than 20% of global capture production of seafood. Vegetable oils, such as palm oil, soybean oil, canola oil, and sunflower oil, are also produced by BRICS countries. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, all BRICS partner countries, represent nearly 90% of global palm oil production. Soy oil is produced by China and Brazil, accounting for around half of global soybean oil production. Russia is the second largest producer of natural gas, followed by Iran, China, the UAE, and Brazil. Climate change is a global problem, particularly in countries in the global south. BRICS countries are also leaders in renewable energy investment and installation, with China alone representing more than 80% of global investment in clean energy manufacturing. China is the global leader in green technology, with heavy tariffs imposed on the US and Europe due to their companies' inability to compete with Chinese companies. BRICS countries also play a crucial role in the global production of critical minerals, such as iron ore, copper, nickel, and nickel. Brazil is the second largest producer of iron ore, followed by China, India, Russia, South Africa, Kazakhstan, and Iran. Indonesia is the ninth largest producer of copper, followed by Russia, Brazil, and Cuba. In conclusion, BRICS countries play a significant role in global meat production, energy production, and critical minerals. They contribute significantly to the global economy and contribute to the fight against climate change. By partnering with BRICS countries, they can contribute to a more sustainable and prosperous future for the world. BRICS is an economic organization founded in 2009 by Brazil, Russia, India, and China. It is a forum of global South countries developing economies that are coming together to create new alternatives, challenging the dominance of Western economies. They are seeking alternatives to the US dollar, dollarizing to trade with each other in their local currencies, seeking investments in other currencies, and holding assets in their central bank reserves. In 2024, BRICS held a historic summit in Russia, where they endorsed a blueprint for transforming the international monetary and financial system. The organization has continued to grow in influence and is becoming one of the most important organizations on Earth. In 2024, 4 new countries were officially admitted as full members, including Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. At a historic summit in Kazan in October 2024, 13 more countries were officially invited to become partner countries of BRICS. In December, Russia confirmed that 9 of those 13 countries had accepted the invitation. On January 1, 2025, 9 countries became partner countries of BRICS: Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, and the United States. The other 4 countries that were invited but have not yet accepted the invitation include Algeria, Nigeria, Turkey, Vietnam, and Russia. As of January 1, 2025, there are 9 full members of BRICS, 9 partner countries, 4 countries that have not yet officially given an answer, 1 country that was invited to be a full member but rejected the offer, and 1 country that was invited to be a full member but rejected the offer, Argentina. BRICS is very powerful in Asia and Africa, with 4 countries now part of BRICS officially and 2 more that may be part of BRICS in the near future. In Latin America, 3 countries are in BRICS: Brazil, Bolivia, and Cuba. Cuba has always been important in global South movements fighting against colonialism and imperialism, and today, it continues to play a role in encouraging unity across the global South. BRICS now has 18 members and partners, representing more than 41% of the global economy when GDP is measured at purchasing power parity. They represent roughly half the entire world population, and they're also important in global commodity markets, making up some of the largest producers of crucial minerals like nickel, copper, iron ore, and food. BRICS countries are commodity powerhouses, agriculture powerhouses, and energy powerhouses, and cannot be ignored as the global South grows in economic influence. BRICS partner status means that a country is now part of BRICS and is on the path to becoming a full member in the near future. This process is similar to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, (SCO), which is more of a security-oriented organization, while BRICS is more focused on economic cooperation and dollarization, creating alternatives to the US-dominated global financial system. BRICS is a global financial organization that aims to create alternative financial mechanisms to dollarize, allowing countries to trade using their local currency without the need for the dollar. They are also working on creating new platforms for investments in other currencies and reserving assets, allowing central banks in BRICS countries to hold other assets beyond US dollars and US Treasury securities. BRICS has 9 full members and 9 partner countries, representing roughly half of the global population. 9 of the 20 most populous countries are part of BRICS, with India and China being founding members. These countries together represent more than 36% of the world's GDP, with China being the world's biggest economy at 19% of global GDP. Indonesia is the 4th most populous country after the United States, followed by Brazil at the 7th, Russia at over 3.5%, and Ethiopia at the 10th. The original 5 BRICS members together represent more than 30% of the world economy, measured at purchasing power parity. The 9 countries that are now full members of BRICS together have GDPs of more than 36%, with China being the world's biggest economy at 19% of global GDP. Other major economies in BRICS include Russia at over 3.5%, Brazil at over 2.4%, and the new 9 BRICS partner countries, which together represent just over 41% of global GDP. However, GDP is not the best measurement for understanding the global economy. GDP is a measure of the value of all goods and services produced in a country in 1 year. In reality, manufacturing produces just over 10% of US GDP, while 21% comes from the fire sector, finance, insurance, and real estate. When banks and realtors charge more fees, GDP increases. Additionally, 133% of US GDP consists of professional and business services, including white-collar workers like lawyers and managers. Healthcare represents 18% of US GDP, but the US health system has some of the worst public health results in the industrialized world. Yet, the US spends twice as much on healthcare as a percentage of GDP compared to other advanced economies in the OECD. Furthermore, 8% of US GDP consists of imputed rents to owner-occupied housing, which means that the owner pays for the rents. In conclusion, BRICS is becoming increasingly influential in the global economy, with its 9 full members and 9 partner countries representing roughly half of the global population. The US GDP is a measure of the economic activity of a country, but it is often misleading and obscures the true productivity of the economy. A significant portion of GDP is spent on overhead, corporate bureaucracy, fees, red tape, and insurance. A more useful measurement for GDP is food production. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO, provides data on the main primary crops produced in the world, which together represent over half of all global agricultural production. Sugar, corn, rice, wheat, palm oil, and potatoes are the main crops produced in the world. Brazil, India, and China together represent nearly 2/3 of global sugar production, while Brazil, India, and China together make up nearly 1/3 of global corn production. In terms of rice, China and India together make up more than half of global rice production. Wheat, China, India, and Russia together make up more than 40% of global wheat production. Palm oil, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand together make up more than 80% of global palm oil production. Potatoes, in particular, are produced by China and India. Meat production is another important sector. Chicken, pork, and beef make up 88% of global meat production, with the USA being the biggest producer. Pork, and beef make up 34% and 20%, respectively. China and Brazil make up roughly 20% of global chicken production, while Brazil and China make up around 20% of beef production. Eggs production is another key sector. China is the world's largest producer of hen eggs, representing 34% of the entire world's production. India makes up 8% of the USA, Indonesia is 6%, Brazil is 4%, and Russia makes up 3%. BRICS countries make up more than half of the world's egg production. Seafood production is divided between capture production and aquaculture production. China alone makes up more than half of global aquaculture production, followed by India and Indonesia, which together represent more than 70%. China is also the world's single largest source of capture production of seafood, accounting for 15%. Vegetable oils are also important sectors. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, now partners of BRICS, represent nearly 90% of global palm oil production. Soy oil, canola oil, and sunflower oil are also major producers. In terms of energy production, BRICS is a significant organization. Half of the top 10 oil producers on Earth are in BRICS, with Russia, Iran, the UAE, and Brazil all full members. Additionally, China is a major player in renewable energy, having installed more solar and wind power capacity than the rest of the world combined.